I'm Wendy Goldberg. I'm the Executive Director of the Trifaith Initiative, and I'm excited to share with you one of our first public art initiatives and the launch of it to gather today. We are very excited about our upcoming picnic on the Commons, which is on Saturday, August 1st. So the most important message today is for all of you to know that you are invited to join us at that picnic. So we'll put a link in the chat and hope that you will register and join us and bring your friends and family and colleagues on that day where we are so excited to regather. After this long separation, we have so much to celebrate. I think it would be exciting for us, and I'm going to call out someone who doesn't know I'm going to call him out, but Bob Freeman, since you're here and a founder, perhaps you could tell us some of the early thoughts around a picnic table. Why do you think a picnic table is important to the Trifaith Initiative?
Oh, well, okay. Hi, everyone. When this Trifaith project was still largely impossible to successfully pull off, but we had the three faiths interacting and working well together with one another. I think I at one point said something to the effect of, well, it's the relationship piece between the three faiths that really matters the most. And that's really critical. And even if we don't find a giant piece of land and each of the three faith groups doesn't raise the millions and tens of millions of dollars that they're going to need to build something, let alone build something together, well, at least we'll have a picnic table that we can spend $150 on. I think I offered to buy it. And we'll put it in a key spot somewhere in Omaha, and people from the three faith groups can get together and break bread and chat with one another. And that would be a success in pulling the three faith groups together on a level that was clearly achievable. Well, obviously we have achieved a little bit more than that, but it's so great that we're also going back to some of our roots and implementing this picnic table concept.
Thank you. So we have gathered, we've completed a co-location during COVID of a church, a mosque, a synagogue, and an interfaith center. And we've been privileged in some of the silver lining of COVID to grow our audience and our influence, to both deepen our relationships between the partner congregations, but to extend beyond 132nd and Pacific Street with our impact. And so that begged the opportunity for us to engage with our partners and a little bit I think we really have enjoyed the process of creation that happened as part of the building programming and planning and the relationships that were formed and grown with architects, with creatives in Omaha, with construction companies. And that has been such an important part, this operational connections that have happened between so many of the leaders, lay and professional, to dream about what the Trifaith Commons could become, that this opportunity to invite some of this creative influence back into conversation with us grew into this idea of a public art initiative. We're all familiar with JDOE and the Chicago cows and all of those things. So what kind of public art representation might we consider? And we landed on picnic tables and this idea of gathering around a table for food and fellowship. And so I first started a conversation with Jeff Dozel. Jeff is the architect who was responsible for building with his team, the Trifaith Center. And so Jeff, tell us a little bit why To Gather spoke to you as a project.
Well, I think it kind of really plays off of some of the things that Bob just mentioned, and the notion of what we were going through with COVID and not being able to really collaborate like we normally do as architects and designers. This gives us an opportunity to kind of re-engage on an art level with our other peers, not just peers in the architectural and design community, but the peers within the different religious facilities and those nonprofits. So this idea of connecting, gathering, really resonated with me, and it really gives us an opportunity to explore context and really bring to light some of these nonprofits, as well as the context of the Tri-Faith campus itself. So that was sort of what we went through when we designed the Interfaith Center, and this is, I think, a natural extension of that relationship.
Thank you. So in just a minute, I'll let you meet the architects from the different teams and let them tell about themselves, and then we'll get into some of the concepts of the picnic tables that have been created. So here's kind of how the process went. We got together a couple of community representatives from each of the partner congregations, Lester Katz from Temple Israel, Sean Alonhi from the American Muslim Institute, and whom I'm missing here, Carol Russell from Countryside Community Church, and Carolyn Owen Anderson was an at-large community member and really a project champion for us. She was the cheerleader behind the effort, who consistently said, let's make this connection with other nonprofits and what are the best nonprofits. And we sat down and we started to brainstorm about who might be interested as far as architectural teams that we could recruit, and then who might nonprofit partners be. Clearly, we wanted to have a picnic table at each of the partner congregations on the Tri-Faith Commons, but who else and where could we reach into different areas of Omaha? And so I will let each of the architects tell who their nonprofit partner is and a little bit about what that relationship has come to mean in their planning process. So in this first round, I'm going to kind of call out each of the architectural texts to first just introduce themselves. Tell us a little bit about your firm. So Jeff, we'll start and go back to you. Tell us about TAC Architecture. You're muted.
Should have that down by now. Sorry, my apologies. We started Tech Architects 10 years ago, so we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary right now, with the thought of getting reconnected with design and our clients. And tacking is a referencing the sailing term of course correction depending on the winds. And so we felt that's what we were going through in our professional careers, and that's also part of our process for design, and it's an iterative process. And we work on a variety of projects regionally and locally with design in the forefront. We have about 15 people in our studio. We're located in historic Benson in a warehouse, and we love it. So we're excited to be a part of this, as I mentioned earlier. So this has been a really great experience. So thank you.
Thank you. Daniel.
Hi, I'm Daniel Conaway with APMA, Alley Pointer Maquetto Architecture. We are partnered with HGA on this project as well. We both partnered together for the design of the Countryside Community Church. Alley Pointer Maquetto Architecture has been operating in downtown Omaha for many years now. We do a wide variety of projects, from multi-level housing to rec centers to churches to historic projects. Yeah, so that's a little bit of background.
Thank you. Kyle.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Kyle Franta. I'm a designer at 10 by 10. We're a small landscape architecture and urban design studio out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're a relatively young office, only about 5 years old, but 10 by 10 is, their practice is really just grounded in this shared curiosity and I guess I would say like a passion for experimentation and agency. And we like to collaborate with visionary clients. We've collaborated with Tri-Faith as one of those visionary clients, and other teams to co-create these immersive future-focused landscapes that really focus to adapt on these like social, economic, and environmental transformations. And we are really excited to be a part of this project. John, Ross, and I in particular who are working on this project. So thanks, Wendy, and everybody else.
Thank you. Slate Architecture has been a partner with Holy Family Catholic Church, and they had a last minute call out and were not able to join us today. If we end up with some time, I'll see if I can screen share and at least show you some of the designs of that project as well. I don't believe there's anyone from B2B, B2 Lab, I'm sorry, here today. Am I correct? Just double checking. And then we'll go to Omar.
Well, thank you, Wendy. It's great to be with such a group of people here. It's really an honor and privilege. My name is Omar Al Mulkey. I am with Altus Architectural Studios. This year, our office is 20 years old, actually, and our practice is focused on healthcare architecture. Our mission is to help humanity heal through architecture and design. But when we came across the chance to work with the Interfaith organization, we really found an opportunity to not just help humanity heal through physical healing, but also on a spiritual level and on a social level. So it's been a great opportunity for us. For this kind of initiative, we have been partnered with the Turner Construction Company, as well as Waldinger's Corporation. So that's a little bit about us. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. And then Michael from HDR.
Hi, I'm Mike Hamilton with HDR. HDR is a large architectural engineering company in Omaha. We're about 10,000 people in globally and about 1,100 people here in Omaha. I'm a design principal with the company and focus primarily on design. So I was excited to hear about this opportunity to get involved in the Tri-Faith and the Together initiative. And we're partnered with the Yates Educational Community Center, as well as the White's Family Foundation. So anyway, we're excited to share what we've been thinking about and working on.
Thank you. All right. It would be wrong to not acknowledge at this point the sponsors who have helped to make these projects go forward. So each of the architects were able to apply for a stipend depending on the structure and foundational needs of the table. And thank you to the generosity of Security National Bank, Logier, HDR, and the Goldstein Family Foundation. We were able to offer some stipends. That is not to say that there hasn't been a tremendous donation from each of the time and talent, and sometimes resources and manpower of each of these architectural teams also, who have stepped up because as we all know of the shortages and increase of pricing, some of our anticipated price line didn't actually fall in line. And so you'll see, which is part of collaboration, that it hasn't been a straight linear path from what we thought this would be to what it is. And so some of the installation dates and such are being altered, and that's part of collaboration, is to be with what is in the moment. And so we're learning, and I've asked everyone to be really honest about the messy parts also, because we have a lot to learn about patience and grace in those moments of relationship building also. So we'll go in the same order again. Let's just cover this time the concept, or do you want to? Well, I guess we'll just start with show and tell. So Jeff, we'll start with you, and you can share your screen and tell us about the concept, and then a bit about your process also.
Okay. Can you all see my screen?
You can see that, yes.
Great. So we were partnered with Temple Israel, and our site, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, I'll attempt to zoom in and out of this PDF. So the Interfaith Center is on the western midsection of the campus. Our site is almost directly east of the Interfaith Center, on the southeast corner of Temple's site. And so when we were looking for places to locate the table, we really felt that there was a great area adjacent to a playground on their site that we could place our table. And we chose that because, you know, we felt that this is really kind of conveniently located along Abraham's Circle, as well as nested between two trees that are on the site. And so as those trees grow, we feel that it'll help really frame that context better. And we try to orient the table in a way that would frame a direct view towards the Interfaith Center, as well as the rest of the campus. The table is going to be made of wood with aluminum or steel, steel inlays. And it has 3 legs to it that represent the 3 faiths that are on the campus, and it's being held up by a chunk of rough-hewn limestone. Limestone is prevalent through the campus on all of the facilities, I believe. And then the benches themselves have these woven, legs. Now my computer's totally messed up, but the legs of the tables have this interwoven shape that really kind of references the dialogue between the faiths. And so you can kind of see it a bit in these construction documents. Just might take a little bit for the computer to catch up, but that's really kind of the basis behind the design of our table, and we feel it'll be a great addition to not only Temple's context, but the context of the rest of the campus as a whole. So I think
And as far as fabrication and your partners for that,
yeah.
could you tell us a bit about them?
Yep. Thank you. Veranda Construction is who we chose as our partner on the table. They were our partners on the Interfaith Center, the construction of that, as well as a few other buildings on the campus. So we thought that was a natural fit. And we are working with a local steel fabricator named John Hilton, who's working on all of the steel pieces and parts and the assembly, along with Veranda Construction. So that's the team.
Any idea if it will be in place for August 1st?
I hope so. Everyone's told me that we're going to try to stick the landing. So a lot of things need to happen in the next couple of weeks for that to occur. But I know the steel is at the powder coaters right now being painted, and Veranda feels that they can pour the slab in time. So we'll see what happens.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you,
Thank you.
for your leadership and your time and your partnership. And congratulations on 10 years.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate that.
Ollie Pointer, Daniel.
Okay, let me just share my screen real quick. There we see my screen.
Ellen, to ask your question, the architects were given the challenge to seat 8 to 12 people at a table.
So we were partnered with Countryside Community Church. We are doing this in tandem with HGA out of Minneapolis. And we were the designer and architect for the Countryside Community Church project when it was originally built a few years ago. So we thought that a good idea for this project would be to allow some of our younger staff and interns to work on it as well, to kind of get a great learning experience through it. So we've kind of handed it off to them, let them work some design out of it. And then we were actually able to present it to the original design team with the APMA architects and the HGA architects as a charrette, so we could do some design edit with it as well. So as you can see here, this is the Countryside Community Church site. The location for the table is in their northeast corner, kind of in this yard crushed rock pit that they have in the back here. The idea of this is that they have this kind of grand lobby that has a large window that looks out onto the Tri-Faith campus, and then also the that kind of crushed rock pit there. And we thought it'd be a great idea to have this kind of pull people from that lobby outside with that view from that window. So that's the location that we're going with. We really looked at the church itself for inspiration. There's a lot of ideas with dynamic with heavy versus light. The building itself is kind of the concept of it is that the lower portion of it is heavy like the earth, and then the upper portion is made out of metal to kind of symbolize light and air. So we kind of took that into initiative on it. There's a lot of linear elements on the inside, working with different materials and reveals. And we also looked into kind of like a mosaic kind of feel as well. So this kind of shows a closer up on that courtyard area that it'd be located. Our hope is that this would start kind of an idea to then design the rest of the area out. It's right off of their fellowship yard where they can host events and stuff. So that's the idea there. Here's kind of some drawings for the table itself. We've kind of like developed a bunch of different ideas on materials throughout the process. After talking with Dan Levenkrum from Countryside Community Church, they really wanted something that was stable and would last a long time. So we ended up deciding to go with concrete. So the table itself is actually made out of concrete, with the idea that it has these grooves in the concrete itself, where water can actually drain into the center. And the idea for this is that the table then becomes kind of interactive and then also symbolic of bringing people together. So the water kind of flows all together into one location. The shape of it is a kind of rounded triangle. The idea for that is the three faiths and then also tri-faith, and then the Holy Trinity within Countryside. And then also the idea of a conversation. We looked into having kind of curves so people aren't side by side and actually face each other a little bit more. And then three rather than two sides kind of symbolizes more of a conversation than a dialogue. So yeah, and here's kind of a look at the location with the kind of the church in the background. Yeah, so that's where we are currently at. We've worked with Polynomial in Omaha as a fabricator and kind of an aid in design. We are also working with a few other local artists to kind of just get some ideas on the table. And then we are currently trying to get a full-length fabricator for the project too.
So your plans for August 1st, what will they be able to see during the picnic?
For the picnic itself, because concrete right now is something that is really difficult to come by with everyone's schedules. Our plan for the picnic is to have like a visual representation of the table itself that can kind of show people what it's going to look like once it's completed, and just kind of give like a little bit of an exhibit on site. So
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Kyle.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so first off, I just wanted to say again how really excited we all are to be a part of this project. Ross, John, and myself, who are my collaborators, who are also internal to 10 by 10. We've all had a lot of fun designing and thinking about this project. And yeah, we're just super excited to share this proposal with you today. And so then the 10 by 10 team is calling this proposal Abraham's Table. Let's see if I can click ahead. So Abraham's Table really explores new ways in which the individual and collective components of the picnic table and the users themselves can be shifted into this new relationship with each other and with God. And it's a place for people to come and to talk and to listen and to share ideas and perspectives and, of course, food. And so the structure and the form of the table, they're based on this relationship between these entities that we see at Trifaith, those four structures, the three faiths, and then the common belief. And the site is in collaboration with the AMI. It's sited in relation to the common green and integrated within the existing tree bosque that you can see right up here in this outline pink. So this is a sneak peek sort of at the proposed design, but really it's a good opportunity to see how that form of the table itself reveals the relationship between the entities at Trifaith. There's the four structures that are symbolized in those four frames. There's the three faiths that are symbolized by the three spaces created within the structure. And then the picnic tabletop itself represents Abraham and ties the whole structure together and provides this place for people to come together. And the structure is mostly porous, so people can come and enter as they would on a normal picnic table. But then a portion of it, of the seating, has these backrests. And then, of course, the picnic table cantilevers out of the structure itself to allow for accessibility and access to the table. And these are some brief construction drawings. I'll kind of skim through them, but basically they just show that the structure is made out of 2x and it's fairly simple to construct. It will rest on this crushed aggregate surface that's in the bosque itself, and it'll be anchored to the ground using no-dig anchors. And then we went through a series of orientation studies and ultimately came to the one that's highlighted in pink. And this really just shows and allows for the alley of trees that you see to guide people to the structure. And it creates this really cool play between the bosque and the table structure itself, each being made of 4 rows, creating 3 spaces in between. So they sort of play off of each other and mimic each other. And then I'll just end with these 2 perspectives. Here's one showing it sort of up close, how people sit in it and sort of the scale of it sitting within the bosque. And then sort of that approach that you would see from the sidewalk near AMI, and how you would see it from a distance. That's what I have. Thank you.
Great. And what is your plan for installation?
Our plan for installation is to come down if we can get the materials in time. Wood is like super hard to come by, and we want to make sure that this thing can really, stand there for 10 to 20 years. It has longevity. So yeah, we want to do it right. But if we can't get it down in time, we will do some sort of an exhibition like others have alluded to, have a poster there and the location of it and sort of show what it would look like using some of these renderings.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Omar.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So in order for me kind of to explain how we arrived at our design here, I'm going to have to explain a little bit of story. So when we first were given the chance to design for the Together initiative, we started looking at the design requirements and reading a little bit about them. But after thinking a little bit about it, we decided here our team to take a step back and start with the Trifaith organization initiative as an organization itself, what it represents and what it's all about. So we started reading about it and we started learning a little bit more about Trifaith. And what you are looking here is the tabletop with the benches next to it. So as you can notice, the table is split into 3 major parts. Each part is representative of one of the 3 main religions that the Trifaith initiatives is composed of. Granted, we were not too specific about which part is which religion. It's just kind of an abstract of these 3 religions. Now you can notice that these 3 parts are kind of similar in shape, yet they are not identical. They have different shapes, different sizes, different orientation when it comes to the pattern inside of them. But at the same time, they all share this part here in the middle that kind of overlaps the 3 parts and unite them together. And that's kind of a representative of a core belief and a core shared value of the three religions, which is the monotheistic nature of them. The three religions believe in the same one God. So after we came up with this design, we went back to the Gather initiative, and we were like, all right, this table is about getting people together, have them to talk, share stories, share foods, talk about social issues, core values. So we wanted a way to encourage that collaboration and help them started. And we wanted to do that with breaking the ice. And we didn't find a better way to break the ice than a small game that everyone on the table can play. So we introduced this kind of ball maze here in the middle, where everyone sitting on the table can have the chance to play, where the ball can roll in here. It's designed in a way that no one person can play it on his own. So you need at least two people sitting on opposite sides of the table to start playing this game, trying to get the ball from one end to another. And as far as the design, that's it. Of course, we are collaborating again with the Waldinger Corporation as a fabricator, as well as Turner Construction. They have been great to design this maze here in the middle. Required a little bit of ingenuity, if you will, on the fabricator behalf. They were really, they took on the challenge we gave them, and they've been great. As far as the location, it's going to be placed on UNO campus, North Campus, right next to the Student Center. And UNO also, Sue's team has been really accommodating to us. We have been having calls with them and trying to they are trying to accommodate how we get the table there on site. And I think as far as schedule, we are on track to have the table installed around August 1st or very, very close to it. So that's what I have.
I think you had an additional challenge in that you were charged with having a table that would start in one location and potentially move to another location. Is that correct?
Correct. And for that, we currently have a shaded site. And for that, we could have gone with a solution where we have some sort of clear top to the maze to prevent the ball from coming out. But knowing that the table might change place in the future and not knowing exactly where it would be, we had to come up with a different solution where we can secure the ball inside the maze without having to provide a clear top, because it's not going to be, it's going to deteriorate under the, when it's exposed to the elements. A little bit of construction details here, how we were gonna solve for that. We provided a little lip so the ball is visible yet cannot be taken out by someone and be a hazard potentially.
Thank you. All right. Mike.
Okay, can you guys see my screen now? Hold on a second. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so our idea was to repurpose an existing corn crib that was in Iowa. Actually, we like the idea of, playing on sustainability and, the circular economy, and really trying to tie the urban to the agricultural, which, ties into a lot of, the Midwestern roots. So this is a shot of us taking the corn cribs down in Iowa. In fact, we did discover some vintage literature on the existing corn cribs. They're Balin corn cribs. So we found the literature which described how the farmers would actually take dimensional lumber and slide them through the grates and create floors, so they could actually use the floors to assemble the rooftops. So what's cool about that is that this becomes kind of a, it's kind of designed for deconstruction. So it's a kit of parts that can be taken apart later. So we like that idea. This is just me and my crew taking it down. And of course we had to go back multiple times. So we had to go back in the winter. But then we also, this summer, we took the idea of the repurposed corn crib and we ran an architectural summer camp with it at the Conecuh Museum. So here you're seeing the campers. A few weeks ago, ideating and just trying to think of different ways that the corn crib could be repurposed as a a pavilion, not necessarily specific as a picnic table, but a pavilion that would house the picnic table. So these are all elementary kids, age grades 3 through 8. So that was a challenge in and of itself to try to herd the cats there, but it was a lot of fun. And then some of the ideas were just really sweet. Cora on the right had this idea, her rules for her corn crib were don't kill plants, have fun, and don't hurt feelings. So and she really was just a blast to work with. And her brother Isaac on the left was interested in kind of creating a space for autistic kids. There was that local autistic kid who ran away a while ago, and he was really concerned about this population of kids and the need for these kids to have a safe place. So that was a lot of fun. So we do have the whole host of these corn crib ideas that the kids came up with that we want to be able to showcase. And they talked to Wendy about, doing an exhibit of these projects at the Tri-Faith Center. But specifically for the Yates School, let me just go to this one. We thought this is the front of the Yates School, which is our partner. It's opposite a garden. So we thought this idea of trying to create this kind of farm to table relationship, from one side of the property being the farm and the other side being a table, would really create this really beautiful pavilion, and we could allow vegetation to kind of grow up the sides and really have this really well shaded space for people to gather. A couple of snags that we ran into was for the permitting process, because the city of Omaha does count this as a structure. We would have had to have gone through the proper building permitting process, which takes some time, obviously. And another thing is we're really working with Whites and Yates and really trying to hone in on the exact site, because this is a new project for them. They are really trying to think through the property and master plan it. So we're not certain exactly where we're going to put it yet, or I doubt that we would be able to make the August 1 deadline. So we kind of accepted the fact that we're not going to hit that deadline, and we're really just sort of working through some logistics and seeing what we're able to get done with them. And that's
beautiful. Thank you.
That's just some drawings there. Okay.
Great. I will just real quickly take my screen and share a preview. This is one more of the picnic tables. This is the one that is designed by Slate Architecture for Holy Family Community Center. And I was not on the design team, so I'm not going to be able to speak to it, but I believe it is wood construction, and we'll have to watch for some more details and the story that gets told about this one, but I did want you to at least have a preview of this table. I don't have the concept drawings. Jeff, do you happen to have any of the concept drawings from B2 Lab? I don't believe that I have that for today.
No, I not handy. I
Okay.
do not.
And so the B2 Lab one will be placed at Nelson Mandela School. So
Sorry, I didn't know you. This is Susan from Nelson
Hi.
Mandela. Hi.
Yes.
They sent me renderings, but I didn't know that they weren't on this call. Otherwise, I'd try and find it in my email box. I apologize.
Well, if you could forward them to me, I could share them, or you want to share your screen, Susan, or
I'm gonna have to.
I know we're calling you out, so we'll give you a few minutes. Questions from you. What are you thinking? What does this bring up for you? I know you just took in a lot of creative energy. Bob, what do you think about the picnic tables?
I'm blown away. I'm sitting here, as you know, Wendy, I spent, all of 2 minutes thinking of the picnic table concept way back when. And now to see all of these firms and the dozens and hundreds and literally thousands of hours that have collectively been put in thinking about this, making it really important and relevant, and all the brilliant, great ideas that are coming out from this exercise. It's really mind-boggling to me. Thank you to all of the firms that have been involved in all the partnerships that you guys have each put together to work on each of these. It's amazing, and hopefully the impact on people, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people over the years will be significant. Certainly your effort has been. Thanks.
Thank you. John Walbaum, you're our Mr. Construction guy. This is your team. What do you think?
Oh, I love all these. You know, as we worked on Tri-Faith for so many years, we had 3 congregations, but we also had this underlying idea that we'd reach out to people beyond our campus and beyond our congregations. And this is a wonderful way to do it. We can reach out to all of these places and let people know that we are farther out in the community than just sitting at this spot at 132nd and Pacific. And it's wonderful. These are great pieces. And you know, I can't wait to play the ball or get into the picnic table at AMI. I mean, there's some beautiful things here. So I'm thrilled. It really helps us a lot.
I agree. Any of the nonprofit partners want to talk about their experience or call anyone out?
Wendy, I found the concept that they have for Mandela. Do you want me to
Yeah.
share it with you or just share my screen?
Hold on, I'm making you co-host right now, Susan. Susan is the principal at Nelson Mandela, so thank you for joining us today.
Sure. Just a second, I gotta get to the right screen.
Wow, Zoom prepared us. I mean, COVID prepared us for all being able to just be so nimble. Thank you.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So they wanted to be symbolic of the South African flag and the colors of the South African flag with a naturally occurring elements in nature. And so they were looking at that kind of that modular idea, and it's going to be a concrete top with some geometric shapes to talk about individuality, but also how diversity of the environment creates a unifying symbiotic relationship. So they have these, this is the concept drawing, and I love that they had the bike park rack at one end. I thought that was pretty unique and fun. And we do have a scholar at our school who is in a wheelchair. So I really appreciate that they had that element before they even knew that about our school. And this will be in our community garden across the street from the school. And we're a year-round school, so this will be used by our scholars as well during the summer months. There's a side view. The colors I think are changing. Our school colors are orange and purple. They're going to try and incorporate those colors as well. And so they wanted to have something that was durable, but they also, I love the concrete having, tying different patterns to create one unified look. And I think that's what that top is representing. And we also talked about how hot it might get. So we talked about what kinds of materials might be used, but I think we settled on concrete there. Yeah, and I'm sure they would have even more symbolism. We talked through a lot of stuff, but this is what I have.
Thank you, Susan. Way to pinch hit here and step up and be the architect for the day. I appreciate it.
Sure.
It's great. Thank you for sharing your screen. Mm-hmm. Other thoughts or questions or comments?
Wendy, just on behalf of the board, thanks to all the firms and your partners who have been involved and spent so much time thinking about and making this such a relevant contribution to what we've undertaken here.
Yes, I agree. And to our sponsors for sure.
Yeah.
Lori.
Hi, I'm with Holy Family Community Center, so I can talk a little bit about the process. I don't have any of the other drawings, but ours is going to be in our community garden right down the center. So that's why there's planters built into the table. And I know one side is attached benches and the other side will be movable benches so that people could stand or make them more accessible. Otherwise, we just talked about it being wood and durable, and the community garden feature was key. Thanks for this whole project.
Thank you. Andy, I see you've unmuted yourself.
I have. I just want to say that this is bigger and more fabulous than I could have ever imagined from that initial day of the picnic table conversations, and in our short and easy discussions with UNO and where to place the table. This whole concept has generated so much excitement, and it's so exciting to see how the concept of sharing and community has the opportunity now to spread even further and go beyond, as John was saying, the boundaries of the tri-faith geography to all through the community. So it's a success already, just in terms of all the people who've gotten involved, but to think of the students on the campuses who will be involved, and the architecture is beyond words in terms of its creativity. So I am absolutely moved beyond words. Thank you all.
Yes. Lisa, to answer your question, on August 1st, when people come to the Tri-Faith Commons for the picnic, we have a handout that has a map that lays out where all of the tables are across the city. Also, we are starting a PR campaign this week for both the Picnic on the Commons and this Together initiative. We have a second art initiative that will be launching on August 1st, which is called You Are Tri-Faith, the Interactive Identity Exhibit. And that is another equally exciting initiative where each of you are invited in to share parts of your story with the rest of the world, because we know as we get to know each other and know a little bit more about each other's identity, that's how we'll deepen our relationships with each other and combat bias and stereotypes. So I encourage you to come and explore the tables that are available on August 1st on the Tri-Faith Commons, and also then to watch for all of our information about these locations and updates as the tables are installed. So any further questions or comments? Sierra, could you put the link to register for the picnic again in the chat for everyone? Any other questions or comments? Well, I think we've done what we came here to do today. Thank you again to all for your passion, your skills, your resources, and your time. And we're excited to gather together on August 1st and stay healthy. Thank you.